Leadership teams need diversity and discussion, not assumption, around roles. Are your team working on the right things at the right time? Are you working within your role? Are you using the strengths of the team? Are your team working collaboratively? Do your team understand what working collaboratively means? Have you talked about your team's strengths and needs and how you will work? Take roles. Have you taken the time to understand each person's role in the team from a job description perspective? Like what, and more than that, what delegations and authority does each role have? Does everyone on the team understand this? And then what skill base does the team bring? Who is the strategic thinker on your team? Who is the person that develops systems and processes, the big thinker, the impact thinker? Who covers off the details and ensures that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed? Who's that person that cares for the people, really cares? Who makes the decisions and leads through the crisis? Then have you put time and thought into delegations and those lines of authority and how decisions are made? What place do positions and titles have in your team? Or do they not have a place at all? Is there a place for egos? Is it time to jump into Patrick Lencioni's ideal team player again? Leaders work with and through their teams. Egos and authority really need to be left at the door. Egos stop progress. Ego equals lack of trust. Teams cannot work without trust. They can't function. Having to know everything, decide everything, control every decision impedes your team, lowers your credibility and leaves your workspace unsettled, insecure, and political. If you have a 2IC, what is their role? Surely part of their work is to be present when you can't, to make decisions in your absence, to communicate what they see, how things work and how decisions are made. And your job is to support them to do so. Is the culture of your team and the clarity of your vision clear enough to allow this to happen? And if you have 1 ounce of uncertainty, then there's work to be done by you on and with and for your team. Leaders must deepen their understanding of people, of roles, of systems, of lines of authority and delegation. And then leaders must bring this to their teams and provide the clarity and transparency for teams to succeed. Take delegation. Delegation is about knowing the skill base that your team bring. About being very clear about authority, reporting, decision making, and having a deep understanding as a team of collaboration. I get really upset when I get really upset for teams when I see them meeting day after day, working in the same room, sitting around the same problem, sitting around the same table and all talking about the same issue. When I see the SLT retreat to a home base regularly to work on the next task. What a waste of time and capacity. The team is skilled, and collaboration means knowing who can do what and will do what, giving them the time and the tools to do it, and then bringing their contribution back to the bigger picture. It is not about everyone working on the same things at the same time. Meetings and over-meeting situations too often are a sign of either over-controlled or under-deciding leadership. The further up the food chain you are, the greater the accountability. But the more you have to develop your team and your organisation through people. You have to learn to trust and to delegate. You have to learn to empower and to let go. Another symptom of leadership dysfunction is when we see leaders working on the wrong tasks at the wrong time. urgent and important become morphed. Communication is limited, and the need to control takes over more than ever. And we begin to see leaders working on the wrong things. Things they know they can do, that they can begin to do, even in a crisis. The comfort zone stuff. They begin to do the work that could actually be done by others. They move out of their lane. They fall back into that comfort zone or zones of prior success. There's a whole lot of self-checking to go on here. Are you working on your work or the work of somebody else in your team? Are you working on the stuff you like at the expense of what the team and your role needs from you at this time? Are you working in your comfort zone and in turn becoming oblivious to the functionality of the team? For example, do you love making schedules and setting up data systems? We absolutely need people who love to do this. I know. Sadly, I am one of those. But I also know that if we're in the opening 2 weeks of a new academic year or the first term, I need to be with my people, listening, building relationships and making decisions. I need to find the strength of my team to get those other things done for us. It's not the role of the big boss, the leader, to sit and to schedule. If you're doing that, look at your leadership. What else are you doing that your team should and could be doing for you? Everyone needs a leader to be able to step up and step in, but we don't need leaders who take over and do our work for us. This is the fastest way to disempower your team and to create silos and silence. It may seem to you that you are helping. The reality is, most likely, you are not. New beginnings. That's what we're about. Be present, not in the office. Get out and about, be with your people, show hope, show presence, show connections and understandings. You only get to start once. You only get to make a first impression once. You might have to work late, talk more, catch up on paper and emails at another time. First, you have to work on the team before you can expect to work as a team. And like any relationship, you have to keep attending to it. Keep talking about how you work, not just the work. Remember, discussion, not assumption.